Hello, everyone! Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Broiler Chicken Show. Let's see if YouTube's gonna kick in here. Hello, everyone! Hey, there it is. Actually, somebody even liked my chicken, so let's even do that. There we go. I need one of those little harmonicas that plays like the C note. You know, like in grade school, you'd have this teacher stand up there and go, all right, and everybody goes, bark, 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 bark. I think I started at too high of a key. Should probably start a little lower. Anyway. There's your big intro to the show. I hope you like that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, welcome back to the Frivolity. I didn't mean to cut the level 1 class short there. My apologies, everybody. I noticed that as soon as I said I was going to launch this Broiler Chicken Show, Grim sort of wrapped things up there very quickly. So my apologies, Grim, if you're watching. That wasn't my intention. I just, I want to be out of the gate here relatively close to sort of 1 o'clock kind of time period. So Liam and I, we're probably going to be fighting with all the tourist traffic now. BC sort of back opened up now. I want to get out on the road as quickly as possible for him. But nonetheless, here we are. This actually is our final week of this current school. Try saying that 10 times fast. Our final week of the current school term. And I have to say, man, so I think students were actually really well served. That this past school term was perfect because, probably a lot of people joined TRI that were all wrapped up in the, Mr. Musk promotion, Coinbase hyped market, Moon Boy, never-ending bull run. And I even saw today when I was asking people, they were like, whew. Yeah, maybe just putting our money away and sort of learning how this psychology of these silly bull and bear cycles works wasn't such a bad idea. For you level 1ers, actually, yeah. So actually the level 1ers did finish. There's a big chunk of them here now. If anybody does have questions, by all means, I'll be more than happy to answer. But I hope you guys, and maybe those people that are in level 1 right now, just give me some feedback here, whether you're on the YouTube page or you're in the Hangout here. I mean, what do you think? Did you all get schooled there pretty hard about how capitalism, the capitalist machine works? I sure hope you did. Because, wow, that was evil. Really, what a difference in psychology. What is it? It's the middle, I guess it's the end of July here, right? July, June, May. Yeah, so like April 30th versus today. I don't know. Somebody tell me. Is it slightly different? Well, that's good, Mirth Rock. I like that statement. Best grand I ever spent. That's good. Hopefully, for $1,000 we teach you the process. And once you've learned the process, you go, oh, now I see how these silly capitalists play this game. You learn the process, and you're good to go for the rest of your life. I will say, I do find a lot of people, they learn the process, and then they take like the next 4 or 5 years sort of relearning the process. Oh shit, I wasn't supposed to do that. Oh shit, I wasn't supposed to do that. But that's okay. At least now you have on paper the rules. Does that make sense, Mirth Rock? Have you been given the rules of how this capitalist game works? Anyway, I also too, for whatever it's worth, you people watching over on YouTube, I do like this this Sunday show to be a very interactive experience with you guys. I do the Sunday shows as sort of a dovetail to the level one because it's such. I mean, what do you think, Mirth Rock? I guess you're on the hot seat today. And also, too, Alexandru, you said, he said the best 12 weeks, mind opening. That's good. But I guess if anything, there was a question I was going to ask you. Darn, it slipped my mind. I hope you feel as though you got good value for your money spent. You've all learned the process. And, and actually this is probably the most important question out there. Do you feel like you were, and I really hope this is the case, but unfortunately I can't answer yes or no. But do you feel like, holy crap, I was actually under-promised and over-delivered? I got way more out of this than what I was even remotely thinking. I mean, I love that kind of sales situation. As a consumer, because remember, I'm a cheap ass, right? I hate spending money. I think that's half the reason why the chicks hate me so much. But I don't like spending money at all. And one of the best things I find in life is when you go and buy something and you paid a chunk of money for it and you actually are pleasantly surprised to the upside. Like, hey, I actually got more than what I thought I was going to get. I actually feel like I got really good value. I love that feeling as a consumer. And I'd love to know that you all feel that way. Super important to me. So, like I said, half of the reason why I do these weekend shows is just simply dovetail, just to make sure. I mean, I've been at this silly game. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brian Beamish, one of the principals here at The Rational Investor. I've been calling myself The Rational Investor since John Bollinger coined the term rational analysis back in the late I guess I'd say the mid-1990s is when I first heard him use the expression. And what was really interesting is that it never caught on in the industry. People hated that term. And ironically enough, it's understandable why, because it's actually a term expecting you to look for agreement, consensus on ideas. And there's nothing about our society today that's based on consensus, which is really sad. So, rational analysis is in essence the consensus. Everybody says, holy shit, this thing's good value. Technical wise, big fat W's, divergences. You guys know how this shit goes. Fundamental wise, low structure. I mean, why do you think Bitcoin did as well as it did? There's only one reason. And that was low supply from the get-go that was strictly controlled. And that's, like whenever I buy a stock, I'm always looking for that 20 million number of shares outstanding. And I even bought a pod stock the other day. 22 million shares outstanding, if I'm not mistaken. That's like the goal, the holy grail. So at the very least of it, all you Bitcoiners, I sure hope you appreciate the significance of having good structure. When you have good fundamental structure of an asset, crazy things like the asset going from zero to, what the hell's the damn price now? $40,000-$50,000 a unit? Well, that's what happens to good structure names. Anyway. Usually what happens is that over time, the structure ends up getting destroyed. As more and more, FOMO chasers pile on, the structure gets corrupted, and then the story kind of unwinds. If anything, it's one good testament to Bitcoin that, to all intents and purposes, the original story hasn't been corrupted yet. I suppose one of the major drawbacks of something like an ETH, why it hasn't gone insane like Bitcoin, is sort of supply concerns, and also too the whole ETC issue. So yeah, anyway, Point here is this level 3 class here today. The term is winding up. We are actually sort of heading into exam week for our various different programs. So, and it's really cute. I love it. I mean, it's absolutely adorable watching how stressed out all you guys get through exam weeks. It's totally awesome. Totally turn the tables on society. Now I'm the man that you're all going, oh, I don't know if I'm going to pass. Oh, you got to make me jump through hoops, Brian. It's adorable. I mean, the good part about it is this shit works. It's the process. It's not like I reinvented it. A lot of the concepts I've used, they've been around hundreds, if not, candlesticks. Even I guess no, we haven't gotten into millennia yet. But it'd be really interesting to see what the Romans did if they ever speculated about prices of assets. And it'd be interesting to see how the Jewish shekel merchants handled price action back in like Jesus's day. That'd be interesting to see. But anyway, point of the matter here is, good money management, sound money management, it's not rocket science. It is a profession, though, and I think a lot of people take it a little too sort of cavalierly. And those people that take this a little too cavalierly often walk into traps, and they always say, many a short-term trade turn into long-term investments. Maybe that's where the term investor came from, was a guy who wanted to just do a quick flip, but turns out price went south on him, and he ended up having to hold on to it for 3 to 5 years. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the respective programs that you're working your way through. Like I said, even the level 3ers right now, they're getting stressed out about exams. And the great part about it is, I don't know if it's great or not, but the workload in our education program actually goes up as you move further and further along in the program, not down. So the level 3ers, they have a very large plate that they must digest here and be able to regurgitate on command. So this should be interesting to watch. This maybe, hopefully it'll turn into something like, you guys remember the pie eating contest from what was that movie? Oh, I can't Stand By Me, I think it was. Anyway. Okay, so point here is it is exam time. We'll spend some time going through some follow-up questions that the level 3ers had. I even suggested to the level 2ers that if you had any questions for me, especially I know we have a couple students who are very advanced, and they really, really picked apart things like WD Gann. And, WD Gann is a goddamn wormhole. I mean, he just keeps going and going and going, and it never ends. And frankly speaking, I don't think anybody's a Gann expert. In fact, I think I showed you one book on WD Gann that somebody bought me recently, and I think it's like 10,000 pages long. And I got to it, but I think I got to page 7 so far. Oh, goodness. And actually, it's a really good read because it's a great history of Western capitalism and fascinating even by page 7 of this book. It actually explains like 90% of what the fuck's going on in this world right now. Oh, goodness. Anyway, so I don't, anybody watching on YouTube trying to think, oh man, this guy's the shit, he knows everything. No, that's not the case at all. And of course, there's a lot of people going, that's right, he doesn't know jack shit. But anyway, what TRI I think has become is this idea that, and actually I described it to my level 3ers because by the time you get to the level 3 program with me, I don't do the weekly quizzes. I just talk to the students like and the expression that I used in class on Saturday is, I'm like just another guy in the trading pit, just standing beside you, and I can see you reaching up, and you're reaching up your hand to buy, and I just I poke you in the ribs, and I go, hey, you know, when that clown at Goldman Sachs is firing 500 lot sell orders into the pit, just fucking cool your jets, man. So, you know, that's my perspective, and actually I like to sort of transition the student body from rah students, exams and quizzes and got to jump through hoops to, hey, you know what? I mean, you this is the shit. It's the information. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it's there on paper. You either learn it or, you know, it's just a waste of your time. And, you know, the great part about it is once you get to level 3, my sales pitch is over. I've gotten my pound of flesh out of you. So it's not like I even want to sell you anything more. In fact, what I even do is I say, you know, if you can pass that level 3 program and show me that you are another responsible trader in the pit just standing beside me, I want you to stick around. I want you to be on the site. Somebody asked, you know, I wouldn't even mind being able to take these modules again. I'm like, damn straight. I mean, you are a site OG. You want to pop into a class? Just say, hey, I want to audit the class today. Let me in! Maybe be polite, but you know, basic site memberships, pardon in the lounge. You know, only the current level 3ers can attest to this. But I do see that by the time I get to that level 3 with you guys, I see the change in behavior in all of you. You act responsibly, and you might even be a crypto enthusiast. That's totally cool. But I do see the change in you. So it's anyway. All right. So I gave you sort of the pitch of what the heck we're supposed to be doing here today. You know, I thought actually Grim was going to be doing a little bit of class and I was going to be blabbing a bit more, but might as well just jump right into it. What I think I'll do here is just a quick sort of, you know, 10,000 look view at I don't know, maybe just the 2 biggest cryptos. Just because, you know, you guys love that kind of chatter. And I often find it's actually helpful. You know, I got tons of charts all drawn up and stuff, but I actually find it kind of helpful. Well, if the browser's going to work. Let's see. I want to go. Let's go new chart. And we'll just start from scratch. Candles. And we'll go maybe a nice daily price chart. And there you go. So, if anything, you know, it's great learning material. Great Del Moody. Great example of a guy who's just mining the YouTube page and learning lots. He's like, Brian, I don't want your damn site subscriptions. I'm just going to learn everything that you know just from your free YouTube page. And that's fine. You know, if anything, that's karmic. If there are people like you out there that are very independent and that can take notes and can learn on your own and actually effectively get better at trading. Keep in mind, a lot of people just watch and years go by. They don't paper trade, they don't log, they don't trade setups, they don't vet whether their reasons for justifiably acting in the market actually work or not, and they just end up floundering. And keep in mind, I've been at this game a long time. You know, I might argue probably the first 5 years of my experience in the market was exactly that. So, you know, if you can self-educate, awesome. You know, like I think we got probably about 5 million hours of just Brian blabbing away. I'm sure I probably told the secret of the universe 2 or 3 times on this channel for free. But if you need help, right, this stuff is kind of overwhelming. And, you know, a lot of level 1ers, you guys are telling me. Any level 1ers, are you a little bit information overload? Like, holy but Jesus, this is a lot of information to take in. If you need help, that's the whole reason why we have the education program. And guys like Graham, I mean, he is sort of the ultimate expression of the TRI PMA experience. He came to us years ago to try and learn this stuff. I don't think he knew about trading before he knew me. I would throw him in with any money manager on Wall Street, anywhere. And while they're going to blow smoke up his ass for like the first 10, 20 minutes, because that's usually what Wall Street guys do, is it's just a big dick wagging exercise. When the rubber hits the road, I feel 120% confident Grimm will fucking trade circles around these people. I can see, our TAs, guys like Kevin and Sharktoshi. I can see that they're just doing their thing, just being consummate professionals. Beautiful to see. Kiran and Daniele are level 2 sort of instructors, and Daniele's not really an instructor yet, but they're working on a day trading course curriculum that it's just beautiful. It's just so next level. It's just absolutely insane. There's Grimm saying I had basically zero experience. So, the interesting thing with a guy like Grimm, I mean, I don't know. To learn this skill and to be able to actually have a job now, to be able to go out and teach this shit to people, was that worth maybe a few years of investing your time, Grimm? I mean, I would say a guy like Grimm, he's fucking made in the shade for the rest of his life. He knows exactly what to buy, when to buy, how to act, and it's no big deal. He's just out there having fun in the market. Woohoo! Actually, I'm going to do that with another one of my OGs, Andrew. My mission is we're going to apply all the principles that we teach at the school. Nothing's going to change with what I'm going to do with Andrew. But we're going to identify situations where we can realistically triple our capital. And I'm just going to effectively show you, demonstrating the principles from our course, how in 6 trades we should be able to take about 5-10 G's and turn it into millions of dollars. Shouldn't be too difficult. So that's actually what I'm looking forward to here in the going forward. And the great part about it is we're in the growth cycle now. I mean, fucking for the past 20 years, the market's just been shit. So, I mean, now we're in the time when stocks can really rock and roll. It's been a long time since we've been back in that kind of environment. And just to give you an idea what that looks like, it looks like this. Right? Actually, it was funny when I pulled this image up earlier. I thought this was so apt. It was just so perfect. Bought, sold. It's as simple as that. Can you buy at a nickel and sell at 75 cents? That's up to you. I can't answer that question for you. But we're in this kind of environment now where this is what I'm talking about. We should have a lot of fun in capitalism going forward, people. A lot of fun. In fact, I even see a couple crypto names even right now as we're speaking that could actually do exactly that right here. As for Bitcoin, actually, what do I got here? This is not, probably want to just do like BTC USD or something like that, right? There we go. So, the problem that I have here is that we're banging up against this trend line. And, just think about it in the simplest terms possible. Do you think there are many other human beings on the planet Earth that could draw one of these trend lines? Are there a couple people on this planet who are following Bitcoin right now? I'd say probably a few. So how many eyeballs are there out in the world that are looking at exactly that level right now? Ironically enough, I would probably say, and we could even go like the replay function, even back here. And I remember I did this with you guys. I said, well, there's your primary trend line. The interesting thing, too, is we also go, this is like a high to low trend line, boo-ba-da-boo. These are concepts that we teach in our level 2 program, how to use trend lines. But, a nice stab up into this area seemed very realistic if we got any sort of oomph away from those lows. So the point here is that there are an awful lot of human beings on this planet right at this moment who are basically staring at this level like a hawk right now. And probably even said, well, If it ever gets up into here, I'm gonna take profits. Maybe. I suppose we could also, play connect the dots and draw a nice little line off of there. These are kind of like this kind of line. Maybe not so much the high to low trend line. That's a little bit advanced. But like this kind of trend line, just drawing a play connect the dots and then drawing trend line off the top, playing connect the dots. My hunch is there's a hell of a lot of human beings that are paying attention to what's going on right here. The only problem with that is that a good place for us, sort of professional traders, to be paying attention and taking shots here? Could there be traps being laid by the higher-ups that are going to mess with all the guys sitting in fucking, the middle of fucking Morocco looking at their cell phones and seeing this trend line and seeing price at this level? Are there going to be some people that are going to be sort of watching this level? And I think the answer is absolutely 100% yes. So, super, super, super dangerous place to take a trade. And I'm going to say that with unequivocally. Super dangerous. Also, too, what I would say is we have a general rule at TRI that, and we've been doing this this show. I mean, I don't even know how to bill it. But, actually, it's interesting. If I go like this. We've been doing this fun cryptocurrency, top 100 cryptocurrency review. We've been doing this now for, this is going to be our 10th episode coming up this week. Wanted to just basically get through these top 100 cryptos and just sort of get just a technical feel for where price is. And almost every single one of them looks exactly like this. I mean, they all look so similar to this, it's ridiculous. So that's got to be a little bit concerning too. There are a number of names that don't look like this, but actually look more like they've actually been washed out more, and they're starting to show signs of W's and bottoms. I'd much rather see something like this than this. This, unfortunately, here, what I think is going to happen here is there's going to be a lot of effery all around these trend lines. This is going to be really sloppy and really ugly. And we might, push higher. I could very easily see us, I did one study here earlier today where I could very easily see Bitcoin up around 50 Gs. And I think I actually put out a tweet to that effect. That was this chart. I could see this happen. It wouldn't surprise me at all. In essence, you've heard me squawking about trading ranges. So this is in essence the definition of a range in my opinion. And all we really did on the way down was just good old WD GAN. We can even crisp that up. There you go. So 50% level. And we heard lots of people talk about this. It's a very natural level for price to trade back to. 34 Gs, you remember, I think Willie Woo, he even said, down in this area, gotta accumulate, gotta buy, this is the place to buy. And so, I think on balance it made sense. And what really happened here, this is my opinion, just opinion, for lack of a better word, is they pumped this market up. And I mean, gee whiz, guys, 3 Gs all the way up to 60 Gs. I mean, what's realistic in this world? At some point, the laws of physics do kick in here. Usually we say at about 10x, you got to start getting concerned. No, we're going to that 1000x straight line. So, actually, I like the idea that, believe it or not, that this was actually our top. And this was all about sort of, buy when it snows, sell when it goes, our seasonal pump window. That was actually like a perfect new venture cap comes into the market beginning of the year. They loaded up here. They knew the Coinbase IPO was the big objective into the spring. They even got Dog Money Guy on board. And I get a feeling he was given marching orders to manipulate the market as much as he could. Or maybe he saw the opportunity. I think others in the space took a little bit of a amateur approach to this. I mean, I suppose if you believe that the ultimate story is Bitcoin's hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars, you can justify going and highly leveraging your equity vehicle and going out and raising money from your investors, either prospective investors selling new stock to them or existing investors selling rights or warrants. But I really didn't like when I saw people like that Sailor guy coming in and basically shilling stock to the public to buy more Bitcoins at very, very high prices. Where the hell is that guy? That's right here. What's his MSTR? Right? And, you know, I thought it was interesting recently, you know, even if you're going to play his stock, right? Reload zones. You're going to buy here. There's goddamn W. You know, there's Jesus. If you're not going to listen to Beamish, then for fuck's sakes, listen to this goddamn shark guy. Actually, we got a few sharks, eh? We got Kavarkinator. He's the sharky guy driving the motorcycle, but we also got Shark Toshi. So I don't know. Listen to one of the sharks, but, you know, the point here is, I mean, hopefully you see these are pretty darn big bullish divergences coming in here, right? Higher lows. Oops, can't even really draw that. There's a little bit of an outlier here, which is interesting. But you had really nice divergences all coming in here. And of course, you know, this is in essence level 1 material. So, you know, boom, big div. Isn't it interesting how this has worked, eh? A real back and forth mess. Might even wait for another W to come in there to trade that. But the point here is, when did that happen and what did it set up? And I think that this div in here set up this W, and really I might even argue that this W here, right, in reload zones. I mean, is this getting a little cliche here, folks? Hopefully all you level 1ers go, oh, now I see what he means by reload zones, waiting for indicator confirmation, and here comes a big fat W. And then look at this. I mean, this is, if you guys can get to the point where you're actually trading this stuff, then you're a goddamn boss. And I've done my job. Goddamn. Abe Lincoln's dad's boss, as Bart Simpson would say. Look at that level in there. I mean, that's just next level trading. If you can get to that level, then hey, let me know when you're buying and I'll ride your coattails. So, and actually, you know, I did notice, you want to see something really cool. Oh boy. What did Mr. Novogratz just do here? Let's get ready to rumble. What's that candle pattern? Hello? Anyone? I've gone right off on a tangent. Oh, yeah. Rachel, where are you, Rachel? Right, I think, you know, if we have a Val Victorian for activity, I think Rachel takes the cake this week. She's this term. She's been super, super active. I guess she isn't here now, though, eh? Yeah, I mean, damn. Mr. Novogratz strikes again. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. That's all I gotta say. And of course, what's Mr. Novogratz a big fan of right now? And actually, I was even putting lots of tweets out this. I even said the other day, I thought this was so funny. I put out a tweet saying, Sjord absolutely loves his electric Porsches, and he'll never buy a Tesla. But if he could buy the electric Porsche, he is so there. And I said, with this guy Sjord investing, and he really likes this Luna story. I said that he's going to have electric Porsches coming out the yin yang. Of course, I think TRI took the opportunity down in here with the rather sizable asset. I mean, Sjord's working with hundreds of thousands of dollars on the Luna network in here, so by definition, we're doing well. But even me and my funny little trading plan on Trex, 500 into $500,000, blah 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 blah. Just me just having fun reloading, just do what I do, trade away. Damn, this is looking pretty good. And I'm just about at the point of banging out a double here. And, based on the fact that Novogratz is a huge fan of Luna, and what we just saw out of Galaxy, I get the distinct impression somebody knows something. And actually, this is, if you can get to the point, this is where you're a good trader, right? When you get to the point. And keep in mind, like if we go to, even a daily chart. Excuse me. Friday afternoon. What day is Friday? Friday's the 30th. So, right there. Yes, it looks like that. And then all of a sudden, you see a big honking key reversal in Novogratz's stock. So somebody's coming in here and they're accumulating. They know something. This is actually very, very difficult to manufacture. Because in essence, this started out on the day down. Somebody had to sell. And they were negative here. Remember, these are big stocks, right? Institutional investor. Somebody came out and was like, sell, dump that, it's a piece of shit, it's going down. And through the day, somebody else said, no, that's not actually the case, you cocksuckers, this is a buy. And they just jack it. And of course, lots of people, selling against highs, buying it against lows. They see like these two highs against each other, they'll go, okay, well, you know what, let's see how deep your pockets are. And there'll be a hell of a fight right against these highs. And the bull just said, screw you, man. Get the fuck out of my way. That is an extremely bullish sign. So, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is you can kind of tell sort of, your maturation as a trader if you can start sort of putting the pieces together. It really shouldn't surprise us that something like Luna is jacking higher here. Because I think the good people at Mr. Novogratz know something about what's going on here in the background. And especially the insiders of Mr. Novogratz's stock. And the irony of it all is it might be sort of chicken versus the egg, right? Everybody knows that Novogratz is a big fan of Luna. And then all of a sudden, Novogratz gets a big sort of NASDAQ listing, and the market knows that he's long a shitload of this thing, and fucking all hell breaks loose on this thing because they want a piece of Novogratz because he's just the shit in the public's eyes. Who knows? Point here is, I could kind of tell. And I've been squawking about this. That is a hell of a bullish-looking setup. If you ever see that, take notes. Great Dill Moody. The whole damn thing. I mean, especially when you saw the momentum, the way momentum was acting down in here, getting our W's coming in. Willie Stupid. Nice. I don't know whether we set up a bull div. I think we set up the bull div versus Bitcoin. No, actually, no. Okay, so I stand. It's incorrect there that there was a big bull div. What I am gonna say is beautiful accumulation pattern here against the bottom end of the range. And when I saw these big honking W's start coming in here, and then the volume pattern just kept surging higher and higher and higher, money just kept flowing in. It was just like, oh my goodness, this thing's gonna head back up. So if I'm really lucky, I'll be banging out here very shortly. Maybe even, when I'm out driving with Liam, I'll get the notice. But I should be banging out a big fat double risk-free position. And really, this is the way I really want you guys to learn how to trade this market. If you can force yourself to come in through reload zones, remember all the fucking bullshit hype through here. And you had to just leave this alone. Don't touch it. I mean, if you were able to get in down here, great. You're spoon feeding, selling into the rally, blah, blah, blah. But on the buy side, you got to wait for these damn reload zones. So this is it's a nice success story. It's great to see. And hats off to a lot of TRIers that participated, and hats off to Sjord for doing his great due diligence, great fundamentals. And he, this is a great sales pitch for why I wanted various different participants on the daily video that we do Monday to Friday. So you get a bunch of different perspectives, and Sjord is like, if I didn't know that he was a human and he wasn't a computer, I would be very questioning. I have actually gone and visited him. He does have a wife. He does have kids. I think he's a good standing. His tennis is okay. But I mean, he's just so fucking smart. I mean, it's ridiculous. And he's also, and thank you, Jojo, for bringing people like Sjord and Julian and Kevin and Kavarkanator and Grim and Kiran and Marat and Zach and all you wonderful people into my life. I couldn't do half of this without all of you, so thank you so much. But, like, this is a story actually I'm getting ready to sell, so I certainly wouldn't want any of you to be buying into this here. This is an interesting one. Look at that LTO. Gee whiz, what a pretty looking chart. We've talked about this before. This is another one that Sjord likes. And gee whiz, look what's going on down here. Especially if we look at like Kavarkan. Look at these divergences. I mean, talk about a momentum setup. This thing looks like it's about to just be launched out of the end of like a bottle rocket or something. This is actually such a great example of Sjord's liking of using RSI on and using Bollinger Bands on RSI to identify these low volatility squeeze windows. Oh my goodness, what a signal! And you can even see one over here. So let's see what happened following this. Where the hell's that? So that's there. Would it have been a good idea to maybe come in here and buy a little bit of this? You tell me. Oh, gee whiz. Do you see what's setting up here, people? And the funny thing is all you had to do was be patient. You just had to wait for that nonsense fluff, Alan, and all that BS. You had to wait for it to flush its way out of the market. Man, that's incredible. Actually, even the level 1ers who took the recent level 1 course, can you see the volume impetus signal here? Is there any level 1ers here? Alexandru, are you still here? Actually, that's an old statement. Who's still here? Yeah, they are. Can you see this? Look at this. This is cool. So it like went down, right? And totally dead. So be careful. For God's sakes, don't come in and buy a market where there's just dead activity and the chart looks like that. That's got disaster written all over it. But notice what's happened here, right? Down, up, down. We went down, and look at this down in here. Down, up, down, boom! And look at what the indicator's doing. Oh my goodness. So the irony of it all is that on balance, actually, there's just as much money in here today as there was way up here. Isn't that incredible? So all that, nobody is smart money. They haven't been selling. It's just, probably all the retail kids that just can't handle the stress of seeing their accounts go zipping up and down. They're the ones getting out. So, what a great example of volume impetus. Look at this beautiful MACDW. Bush. And actually, this is kind of cool too, because this is a bit of a wedge. It's breaking out here. So we'll see how long that goes. This might go up and then boom, straight down the other side. I've seen that happen lots. In fact, we had a Bitcoin market that did that a year or two ago. So be forewarned, whatever the end of this rally is, we might have to come right back down and even trade to new lows through the fall and the winter. But, for the time being, probably into the end of the year. And we've all been sort of thinking, Willy Woo's $300,000 Bitcoin. Does the whole damn market lift into this event? There are a lot of these altcoins that we do on the on that Crypto Top 100 show that look exactly like this. They're all telegraphing that they want to rally up into their reload zones. The problem here, though, is that when this happens into the end of the year, I have to be liquidating, selling, getting into profits, just hopping off on the sidelines, getting ready to pay my tax bills, because I have a feeling 2022 and 2023 are not going to be good years. If you follow that 4-year cycle kind of thinking with Bitcoin and crypto, we should be thinking major cycle pivot here coming into the end of the year. So just be forewarned. Now, I don't know if we top out here or if a name like this, they reinvent the wheel and actually we top out up here. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into the business of making that prediction, because 9 times out of 10 when you do that, you end up looking stupid. Don't get into the business of predicting the future. What I would just simply say is, look, you had these smarts, and it's not really like predicting, but we all know statistically that buying in reload zones against Mr. Benkoff, is that what we should call this level now? We'll call these Benkoff checks. Is Ben around? What do you think? Is that Nick right there? Is that my co-host there, Nick Sheesh? Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. So should we call these Benkoff checks now? I think so. I like that. Ben, if you're here, let me know whether you can live with that. But I mean, this is what you're here to learn, right? I know you're here because of my smashing good looks. I appreciate that. There are a lot of you that are here, and you're just enamored with what a beautiful human I am, physically. I also know too that I have a pretty good joke book, and a lot of you like my comic stylings. So, if anything, just temper those things. But you're here to learn. Let's try and learn something about trading and how to make money. The first thing that you got to teach yourself is you have to force yourself. If you like the fundamental story, and from what I understand, I think the fundamental story is relatively similar. Hasn't changed a hell of a lot. But if you like the fundamental story, you got to force yourself to come in and start accumulating, participating, whatever the hell you want to call it, on the Wyckoff checks and on the reload zone tags. This is basically our we would call it Kavarkinator, we would call it Leopard Kavark. It doesn't really matter. Just tags of 78.6 down bottom end of reload zones against previous market structure. This is what you're here to learn. So please, for God's sakes, learn this. And the way that you get really good at just, hey, I'm just going to go in and buy this, is you got to practice. Paper trade, right? No, because then you're going to go, well, why are you lying to me, Brian? You're an ugly motherfucker. If I don't have the face cam on and you don't know me, how do you not know that I'm the most handsome man in the entire universe? And I'm holding out on you. So I'm the international man of mystery. No, why'd you get rid of your message? I love that. It's all good. Anyway. And, I used to always say, honestly, folks, I used to say this to my customers. Of course, my sales manager, they hate it when I talk like this. But I used to say, would it matter if I was sitting here in a diaper, smoking a cigar, talking to you? And, of course, there's an image, especially all my little old lady pension fund customers. Oh, good heavens. But would it make any difference? I mean, if I sit and spout out ideas like this, and, the irony of it all is that at the beginning of the day, people go, oh, no, that's crazy. But at the end of the day, when you're really talking money, right, if I'm wearing a fucking diaper and smoking a cigar and I'm giving you ideas like this, do you really give a shit? And the answer is no. I mean, let's be honest here. We're humans. So that's why I don't put my camera on, because frankly speaking, what I look like is meaningless. It's pointless, it's stupid. And if anything, you know what it does is it feeds into the narcissism of what's happened to our society. Everything's about me. Me. I'm important. Look at me. Look how beautiful I am. Look how sexy I am. Look at me. I'm the best. And if anything, hopefully what I've shown you over the past 7 years is I don't give a shit about me. What I care about is you. Hopefully you hear me and this shit sinks in, and, you know, Great Del Moody writes a book and fucking becomes international bestseller. And you guys take the education program and become fucking killer traders. Be world famous. Hell, even, you know, I would, for the record, I would appreciate it if you're going to use the terms that I teach. Don't bastardize the terms so that if somebody learns that from you and then they come to me and use that term, I have to unteach that. That's so frustrating. But I don't care if you go and teach a course yourself on this. I don't care. There's no, anyway. I mean, I'm a weirdo. I'm not normal. I will definitely say that. Okay, enough blah blah blahing. Well, let's get on to actually your Q&A here. Hopefully you guys got an idea of what I'm thinking about with regard to crypto. I tell you, man, I mean, this market, it's in the buying zone now. How long it actually takes to turn back up in earnest, well, we'll leave that up to the market. Would I prefer to participate in junior names versus going and speculating on Bitcoin right now that it's going to outperform? Yeah. I definitely think that the altcoin market, this is their time of year to shine. So if they're going to shine, this is going to be it. Probably over the next month or two, that's probably when my shitcoin 5,000 names start to really come to life. And you get the crazy, I mean, look at this little ENG. You tell me, could that thing pop? I mean, just look at it. Does it matter what the fuck I look like? I mean, it doesn't make a difference what I look like. What you need to see here is, god damn, is that worth throwing a buck at? Maybe that buck could turn into like $100. Is it worth taking a dollar risk on something like that? You know, I started this shitcoin 5,000 accumulation plan back sort of in here. So, you know, I mean, has it really made a hell of a lot of difference whether I bought here? You know, this is one thing about my little $1 million plan that I was talking to you about, Andrew. You know, this is very, you know, in crypto, I would actually say there's just as many opportunities. The only problem with crypto is it's very, very difficult to figure out what the hell fundamental value is on these things. So that's one reason why I don't really want to do the $1 million plan in crypto, because you don't want to sit there bag holding a piece of shit that you know has no fundamental value for like years waiting for it to do something. So I like the shitcoin 5,000 kind of thing. Let's see how much Bitcoin I can actually farm out of these things. I'll go, but I think the plan was I put like 0.01 BTC into these things. And I was just going to accumulate, try and buy as many of them as possible. Let's figure out how much Bitcoin I actually threw into the whole list. And let's see by the end of all this whether we have more Bitcoin out the other side. Because that's the whole point of this. So that's the way I'd approach this. And I mean, nothing's changed. Whether you came in here in the middle of May, whether you came in the middle of June, whether you come in the middle of July, nothing's really changed here. It's just sitting there. And they all look like this, right? They're all just sitting there. I think this one actually I came in and bought like, yeah, right down in here. And most of them are going to look like this. Hey, look at that. There's a letter of the alphabet that we kind of like. If we see those letters of the alphabet, does that look kind of interesting? Paul J here said he's already banging out doubles on some shitcoin 5,000 names. Which ones? I mean, we haven't been running the plan that long. I think we just started in May, didn't we? REP? Is REP on the shitcoin list? Oh, I don't even remember that. Maybe it is. I should probably, let's go check that list out, see what it looks like. Are you guys having fun me talking here today? I apologize, I'm kind of rambling a little bit. Some people like my ramble, some people think it's a total waste of time. Shitcoins taste great. Hi, Brian. I've been doing a little old lady strategy on crypto for 2 years and it's been working. Oh, good for you. I have a significant amount of money now in the crypto space. Oh boy. Well, there you go. Mr. Moneybags. Maybe go and buy some hookers and blow for your buddies. They'll all think the best of you. You can be a player. Players gotta play. Shitcoin 5000. See what we got here. Was REP in the Shitcoin 5000 list? REP. No, I didn't have that on my list. This was the list that I just threw together. It was the bottom names on the Trex account. So these are the ones, I think that's it. Let's see. Yeah, these are the ones that I was accumulating. So the ones in bold, I think I've been filled on. The ones that are oh, actually, I think I got filled on this FIRO. I think I saw that. So we can bold him. I'm going to have to write that up, though. So maybe I'll bold it. I think I got filled on IOC, too. So I got him. Verge and PTOY. So basically, I've almost got my whole basket full here. I don't know how much I really want to go in. I wanted to get everybody full, and then maybe once I've got all the initial purchases done, I can go and add to the list. But, keep in mind, anybody looking at this is shit. Okay, we're not. We are not talking about. Actually, this one's not so bad. So I don't know whether I would consider ONT shit. But a lot of these are the shit of the shit. IOC's a hilarious one. This guy, he was out of Miami, and man, he could fucking spin a fucking bullshit line through that last cycle. It was funny listening to him constantly tout. And you know what the hell? I mean, hey, the market listened to him, and you can see what happened. I have no idea if this thing's even still alive. That's why I just went, what the hell? Let's go throw 0.01 BTC into this and see what happens. So, caveat emptor, understand, this is the shit, okay? This is not quality whatsoever. It's shit. And I'm sure people are going, hey, don't talk about my coin that way. There are a lot of these good looking. I mean, look at that, 88.6. I mean, it's just sitting there. This one was funny. I think Chico liked this one. And I noticed, look at the W that they're putting in right off that damn 78.6 level. I mean, you can see the W's are coming in here. I do want to get filled on this one. The bastards won't give me a fill here. Remember we did a show on this one a while ago, and I've just been working a bit forever there. You DeFi kids, I think I saw DeFi starting to perk up. Hello! Is there a letter of the alphabet anybody can see on my screen? Actually, that's good, because, I mean, technically this bare ABCD is still out there, but hey, at least that's encouraging. Boom. All right, coming up against, at least now we've got a range, right? Bottom end of the range, top end of the range. Let's do a little bit of ping pong in here. It's probably not the best location, but if anything, what you really want to see is them go take out this high. So then that wipes this off the map. What would be good to see here would be like sort of like down, up, down. This is the head. Then we come up, make a shoulder, and away we go. And this is sort of like the neckline. That's a shoulder, head, shoulder. That would be the ideal situation. So we'll see what happens there. So nothing really to get too excited about on that one. But man, a lot of these, I just forced myself to come in and start accumulating against the bottom end of the range. They're looking pretty good, you know. I mean, not bad. Ubix always an interesting one. Yep, same sort of thing. 78.6. I mean, it's remarkable how they all look the same. Look at that. Double. Is there a letter of the alphabet that Beamish guy wants you to learn about? And when it comes in down the bottom end of the range, maybe take a look at it. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Sounds good to me. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him eat peanut butter, as a famous Texan once said. So, if anything, I love the fact that Sjord's hot names are leading the charge here. I mean, that's just poetic. Sjord's a damn fine investor, actually good company manager. I'm darn impressed with Sjord. Darn impressed. All right. Okay, so there's your big rant. I guess maybe we can take a quick boo at ETH. Oh, so remember we were just talking about W's, eh? This is a really cool example. Check this out. I remember when we were talking, you know, in videos weeks gone by, how was this double bottom going to hold? And was this inverted empire going to hold? And you just didn't know. So this is a really, really good testament to why range traders, they don't really like indicators. They don't really like stuff. They certainly don't like opinions. People's opinions, complete waste of time. And here's a fantastic analogy. I talked to you guys about candle body lows for trade location. You see the inverted empire. You see that actually that's a double bottom unto itself. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of sort of reasoning that, hey, somebody does not want this asset to go through these lows. Throw your bid in here, and it's just uncertainty central. You have no clue what's going to happen. And I think I've told you guys that they often say that the more uncomfortable trade you have, probably the better odds it's going to work. And this would be the ultimate definition of, oh my God, holy stress central. But incredibly low risk window. I mean, you define what your risk window is. I mean, it's such a small window here. I mean, that's what the fucking pro traders... You want to learn, great Del Moody, right? You want to learn how to be a pro trader. You've got to identify these low risk windows, and it's here that you step in and take your shot. And, like I used to work with guys that would do this in the crude pits every single day of the week. And they would just eat fucking retail's lunch. Just daily. I don't know. I mean, you could even go at the midpoint of this zone here, right? Keep it really simple. 7 and the midpoint of this zone, we call that the sweet spot. Boom. Where are you? Come on, boom. Boom. All right, what do you got? Reverse? What are you doing to me? 70 points. Oh, hell, you came in by 1900. What the fuck, right? Gotta race to new lows. Don't get tripped up by the noob stop. Noob stop's gonna be that low right there. Sure enough, right down. I mean, me personally, I love candle body lows. So if I was gonna do this trade, I love that dotted line there. That's just the sickest level in the world. But even if we just said, hey, look, I'm not that smart. I waited for all that to happen, and I even sort of said, screw it, I'm just going to wait for the serious test of the low, and then I'm going to buy it on the way back up. You could do that. It's up to you. But just even now, right? I mean, what kind of numbers are we looking at here? Just holding on to the position. That's what? Better than 3-to-1 risk reward. That's just off of buying that. If you bought that awesome, killer, just insane level. Do you have the patience and discipline? Do you have the ego, right? Do you have a big enough... Let's be perfectly frank, right? Do you have a big enough dick that you just don't give a shit what some other clown's saying? That you step in here and say, this is a risk window that actually is a professional risk trader window. I'm willing to take that. I don't give a shit. And here I am now looking at 5, 6, 7-to-1 risk reward. Just insane numbers. It's not easy. This is not easy whatsoever. Not going to bill it as saying easy. I mean, the guy with the big dick, he's a pretty confident guy. First time he walked up to a woman, I'm sure he was probably scared shitless, just like all the rest of us. And then she went, ooh, hello. And he got a lot of confidence. That's terrible. I should finish that line. Point here is, you gotta be pretty damn sure. Is it gonna take practice to get good at this? Absolutely. Our level 1 instructor, he wants you to take 100 paper trades. I would say practice that 100 times. By the end of the calendar year, you should have logged 100 of these. Whatever asset you're looking at. It doesn't matter. You can do a whole bunch of different assets. Right. So, and actually Paul is really, really good at this. I noticed, Paul, gee whiz. I don't know whether you have a microphone. I got to give you a big shout out. I don't really like to include level 1ers. And really, the way Kiran's developing, I like Kiran as a nice little pit bull that you're not going to bullshit Kiran. You're just not going to. It's just not going to happen. I will say, you could probably, no offense, love the guys to death. You could probably bullshit Kevin. You could probably bullshit Sharktoshi. You might be able to bullshit. Well, Murat's a cop, so I doubt you're going to be able to bullshit him. But there's no. You're probably going to be able to bullshit Brian, but there's no way you're going to bullshit Kieran. I love. He's almost like the absolute perfect sort of gatekeeper. You know, if you can get through Kieran and the level 2 course and understand his message, then I have no concerns for you whatsoever. You will do well in this trading world. So, anyway, all right, cop. Paul is a cop, eh? Oh, cool. I'll tell you, man, Paul. I watch you work day in, day out. You're showing it. You're bringing it. I mean, half of what I tell the day traders is your job is just to show up. Don't be a flake, right? Is it? But it's a Paul J. So I don't think. I don't think mall cop actually qualifies because you could probably bullshit a mall cop. Anyway, I mean, I'm not going to tell you I took this trade. The trade that I took, because keep in mind, you know how much I have respect for Mr. Mountain Man. And the funny thing is I did not get filled here. But the trade that I took buying was I just wanted to accumulate as soon as we got into reload zones. I even told all of you. You know, last year, I think I even remembered, as this stupid thing was racing up, I said, whatever happens here, the Mountain Man tag on the other side of this rally is going to be the buying opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, I don't know whether that's going to play out. That's fucking putting your neck in the noose, eh? But nonetheless, it's working out so far. I'm not feeling so bad. But, you know, you want to do next level. You want to take it to the next level. You really want to be hunting those little trades right off of those lows. That's like our day trader, Kiran, battle stations, those guys like that. And like I said, Paul here. Paul's doing it a day in, day out on the as a level 1er. And like I said, I don't like level 1ers to even give you that opportunity because 9 times out of 10 I have to re-educate you guys and actually undo a lot of really bad behavior. And then sort of, okay, this is what you have to learn how to do. Can you do this? And it's kind of shell shock for a lot of level 1ers. So. Okay, man, about 15-20 minutes ago, I said I was going to get onto the Q&A document. So let's see if we can get over there. Because, man, one thing I really dislike about myself is I don't know what it is, but I can't stop just blabbing away. Just blah, 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 blah. Anyway. All right. Where is that Q&A document? Over here. Let's see what we got. I got maybe about 45 minutes, and then I got to start getting ready for Liam. Oh boy. This is all for me. Oh, that's last week? Oh, here we are. Wow. Man, you guys asked a lot of questions this term. I saw Grim was like overloaded just even in the class today. So he had to finish off the last part of his questions on his office hour session. I think he does that on Tuesdays. Not positive on what day that is, though. So maybe, Grim, you could post in the lounge when, or I guess the level 1 where they all know when you're going to be back to finish that off. So, Paul J says here, my setup tells me to go long at 34K. The last time it gave a buy signal was in April 2020 at 89K and kept until May at 50. I use this setup for day trading, but it seems to be time agnostic. Sick. Sweet, Paul. Very, very impressive. You want to put together a nice little video walkthrough on that? I would love to add that to the library. You could come on Daily Brief, do a little presentation of your setup. You want to put together like a little mini slideshow tutorial with a bunch of examples. Fuck, we'll sell it as a little mini course on the site. You know me, whatever I want to do, just simply do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And if we happen to make you famous along the way, it's fine by me. So again, I'm very proud of you, Paul. You're the man, and you're a cop too. Gee whiz. Good karma points. Okay, August 8th. I guess the first. Happy. I think it's BC Family Day weekend here. Hallmark holiday. Will probably mean that we should be a little bit jaundiced about price action here through the weekend. We might find that prices are actually being bid up a bit, and then for sort of late Monday afternoon, early Tuesday, they have to bring prices all right back down to where they were on Friday. We often see that happen, so be forewarned. Whatever rallies you're seeing right now, they probably still have another sort of 24 hours to go, but they will have to sort of, clean things up at some point and get ready for the adults coming back on Tuesday. All right, howdy, Brian. Just wanted to get your take on the current economic situation. It's shit. The study on the Dow, all right, is a bit out of date. We still haven't tested the bottom of the parallel channel yet, and we might not with the money printing. We obviously tested the middle of the channel during the start of the pandemic. The Dow has continued to climb higher since. What is your hunch now? Are we likely to still see a test of the bottom, or has the greed cycle already started? Well, I would say the greed cycle has already started. It started back the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018. So, the only problem here is that the powers that be, the people in control of our society, they decided that the dilution of the purchasing power of the currency was the prudent way out. They rather have a currency that's diluted and less powerful, and obviously that means higher prices for all goods and services in our society, i.e. price inflation. The powers that be have just decided that is the world that we live in. There's not really much we can do about it. The only problem here is that this is, in my opinion, it's unsustainable. And it's sort of like, how did the world act when Germany went down this road in the 1920s? And you might even argue to a certain degree the British pound also following the First World War. Basically, the European fiat currency system collapsed following the First World War, and the American fiat currency system was established. Once every 80 years, it seems like they jump to a new fiat currency. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't like these economics. It's not really fair. But at the same time, too, this world that we live in, there's nothing really written about this world that it has to be fair. And if anything, if you look at nature, it's always puzzled me why a spider should exist. Because the spider is technically nothing more than just an agent of death. And not only agent of death, but, oh my goodness, if you die, as a victim of a spider, as another insect, it's a horrible, horrible death. So, that's a sad commentary on this universe. If anything, what I've noticed about this species is it's sort of like we do 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward. And I think the way that centuries evolve, I think it's like that way. You have sort of like a real surge into the end of the century. If you think like the 16th century, 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, 20th century, there's a big surge in activity into the end of the century. Then the first couple decades of the new century, there's a big sort of cleaning up. You often get revolutions that happen around the ends of centuries and then the beginning first couple decades because, that those imbalances just get too out of whack. And frankly speaking, I think the 20th century went basically exactly as they all do. I mean, nothing really different here. Of course, we're in love with ourselves with all our interneting and fucking fandangled technology and stuff. And just like every other generation and every other century, we think our knowledge and our sort of, tech base is the shit and we are cutting edge and all that. I mean, you could go every single cycle. It's exactly the same. So I also think too that there are solutions to the problems that that develop through these cycles, but it doesn't serve the people that are running the cycles. It doesn't serve their best interest to follow good, sound principles, because how are they going to get their Lambos? A guy like George Bush Jr. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but he's a career politician, silver spoon in his mouth. I mean, I don't know whether he actually even did anything of real value. But he through his entire 8 years, I just watched one crony after another just line their pockets. Whether it be the whole war on terror. I mean, I thought that was it was all fabricated. And I think this happens every single cycle. I don't think it changes. I think it's identical. We happen to have a pretty doozy one this go round. But this is the image from, say, the Great Depression, which of course is a doozy. And that switching of the guard from sort of European-centered society and having to find a new fiat currency and having to go and use the American currency as the fiat currency. And ironically enough, this cycle image, I don't see any reason why this won't repeat. The fascinating thing is, if you look at the stock market and valuations of equity in just straight dollar terms, you don't see this image from the 1930s. This was a market when you weren't allowed to fuck with the currency. And the people that actually controlled the country, they really liked that. That was really important to them. It was the capital stock of the country. The United States of America was a very, very wealthy nation. I don't, this is if we take the dilution of the currency out of the equation. And frankly speaking, when I saw this was the cincher for me. Somebody even asked me recently. And this is actually the framework, the benchmark that I'm going to be using here. The problem here, of course, is this is not real dollars. What the fuck does the real picture look like? And it looks like this. And the irony of it all is that how do we get, your image here? And this, I always was left scratching my head about this. How do we get, I mean, look at these numbers, right? 150,000 on the Dow Jones Industrial Average? What the fuck? I remember when I was growing up, when I was actually sort of becoming an adult in the world and sort of learning the hard ropes, like I got my first job in the stock market right here. There was a gentleman going around saying the Dow was a sell at 1,000. And now we're realistically talking about this thing topping out at 150,000 or whatever, 100 and some odd thousand. How does that happen? The only way this happens is this insanity. It's like, what's the real value of this stock index? Is it really that valuable, 34,900, or is it actually really this? And that's the problem. And the thing is that this is universal. It's going to be stock prices that work their way up, and I think on balance we are. Hell, we can just throw the chart on here and just get a really simple sort of update of what we're doing here. I would imagine we're probably pretty close to that image. not really that difficult to do. You just got to get a data print that goes back that far. That's all. 1897, so that's good. Obviously, that's not accurate. Let's go maybe log scale, and boom, hey, there's that image. So, we can do the candles if it makes it a little easier, and then we can do the parallel channel. And I'm not quite sure what lows we use, but I could go right just for here to start, and then we can adjust this as we go. So there you go. Also, too, the worst part about this is our job as technicians is not to predict what's going to happen, which, of course, drives everybody crazy when I say that. Our job, and actually Grim even said this in class today, and I was very proud of him for saying this. Our job is to react, and to react appropriately to what happens in the marketplace. It's not to predict what's going to happen. I can tell you that absolutely without a shadow of a doubt. But in essence, looking at this image right now, whoever asked this question, we know that our next cycle peak is coming up here in 2035 or so. So that is right in that area, right? 17 plus 17, yeah, it's about 34, 35. What is that? That's February. Actually, it should be fall. There we go. So that's when our next cycle peak comes. And in essence, that's going to be some sort of test up in here. But you can even see 2000, right? This was the dot-com peak. I mean, we didn't even actually get up to the top of the channel there, did we? So who knows how we ride along this, but my hunch is that this is what our future is probably going to look like. So hope that helps. Just don't really need the volume, but not a bad update. We'll put one where we're here, 17. Alright, so there is your greed cycle. And we can, just for fun, we can go look at the last greed cycle. To somewhere in here. Can't remember exactly. You can actually see the bottom there, that one. This is when they weren't allowed to fuck with the currency. Now they're allowed to fuck with the currency. This is what our pivot looks like. A little bit different, eh? And then George Bush Sr. And really, I think that generation is actually, to a certain degree, still trying to control our economy. Their greed cycle started at somewhere around 1942 and went on into like 1962. Right, because this ended in 1929. So, just roughly, what's 17 years? 17 years? Yeah, 46. I beg your pardon, that's over here. And there. So that's, 16, 17 years, something like that. So you can sort of see, I'm just eyeballing this really quickly for keeping. So my hunch is that we're probably going to do something like, this is the greatest generation, the silent generation, whatever the hell you want to call it. So we'll put them there. That's their scenario. And then we have, and let's make them white. And then we have the baby boomers to there. That's their scenario. And they'll even go above trend line. So that would be sort of my prognostication right now. If it's somewhat responsible, then we should probably follow along The greatest generation. Actually, it's interesting. You can see. Look at that dip. Look at that rally. So actually, it looks like it's following along the baby boomers. I guess that makes sense because we're still living in this stupid fugazi world. But that, I think, would probably be my sort of update to your study there. Something along those lines. So I hope that helps. Didn't do this one long enough, eh? We probably should have done that a little longer. That was, which one? I personally think we're in this this generation here, right in here. But you never know. I mean, maybe this turns out to be a replication of the baby boomers market. So there. So that would probably be my sort of forecast, one or the other, is something along those lines. But this is, you know what this is this is just basically a roadmap. Okay, great. You got your roadmap, but watch out for the potholes. I mean, you can see the disconnect here has been kind of wide. But I would, just to start my sort of research and my thinking, that's pretty much what I would be thinking. So, you know what I'll do is, that's actually not a bad image. I'm going to throw that in the lounge. And we'll also put it into your doc there. So anybody who did ask this question, if you want, sort of follow up what I think is happening, I'd say that's something that would be like an update. Okay, we still haven't tested the bottom of the parallel channel yet. Oh, okay. I guess we're moving. Oh, was that part of the same question? Oh, I probably screwed that up. Sorry, guys. Can I just pick that up? There we go. Okay. And, like I said, I mean, what I would say is this is a roadmap. So now you've got your roadmap. Now I would be asking things like, hell, you can even like drill down to like even lower time frame and go, okay, well, that's kind of what we're thinking is going to happen here down the road. What is happening in reality? So we just started, and I don't even know if I've had these dates right. I mean, obviously I just did this really, really quickly, but you can kind of see. Here is the stock market, and here is actually, this looks a lot like yellow line, eh? I don't know whether you can see. Yellow line was the baby boomers. Looks like it's following along their path. So if that's the case, and I actually do like the idea that we're probably near some sort of top, but everybody's going to be calling for crash, and it's not going to be a crash. It'll be like one of these, oh, this is the crash, and then, oh, that's a head fake, you suckers, and then into like the new year. First 6 months of 2022 is a meltdown, and of course they do more money printing, so that props this back up, blah, 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 blah. Rinse and repeat, same old, same old. So, I hope that helps. You saw how I did that, so you should be able to replicate that study on your own. So, interesting. Look at the baby boomers. So we should actually come off here, then rally probably into the into the end of the year. Then 2022 should be a crappy year, about halfway through. Put in a base. Remember, 2022 should be shit for crypto, all that kind of stuff, and then continue our way higher. I still think, for whatever it's worth, we are nowhere near the end of this this sickness stuff. This goes on for at least another year, maybe even another couple years. Of course, I'll love to hear. Okay, next question. Hi, Brian. This video presentation on the put-call ratio seems to debunk it is not being of very much use. Wow, wonderful. They carried out some statistical analysis to determine its ability as a sentiment indicator. The conclusion was that statistically it wasn't. What are your thoughts? This is the put-call ratio. I think the way that I use it is I put like moving averages and stuff on it, I think. Let's see what I got here. I don't know. I guess it's a put call ratio. I'd have to go and watch your video, of course, to have a full rebuttal about that. But I don't know. I mean, I'm the type of guy, I'm from, like I always say, right? I'm from Missouri. Show me, right? So what I would just simply say is SPY. We'll compare it, and the proof of the pudding's in the eating. You know, whoops. Oh, darn. And I'll put it over here. I got to do it over here. So how do I do this? Excuse me. This gets a little complicated when I try and do it this way. Well, I guess I can't, so I'll try and do it a different way. If anything, person on the site that you should reach out to is Johnny Salmon. He's done tons of work on the put call ratio. He loves using it. We can talk lots about this in the level 3 class when we get into options. I don't know whether I would be so cut and dry like, oh, it's completely useless. That's not really the way I approach technical analysis. But then I do things a little differently, right? So I would be like, is there divergence in the information to what the indexes are doing? That I love looking at the market that way, which is very different than what most people, the way they use indicators. So, what I would just simply say, looking at this right here, is maybe we'll put this on a new scale. Left. There we go. So, does this data validate what you're seeing here in the pullback? Well, to a certain degree it does. It might be interesting to look at something, like I said, the way I would like to do this, and it probably would be in everybody's best interest, is put a moving average on this. So add indicator. So we'll go EMA. Built in. Try that again. Oh, I think you have to do it somewhere. It's so weird. A moving average exponential. That's how you do it. All right. So a 13 EMA. Simple example. Now, the question really here is the let's say this example right here. Is the market above the moving average or below? If it's above, well, that's probably a bearish sentiment. If it's below, well, that probably is a bullish sentiment. It's a really, really simple way to look at this. What I would say is even better is, and this is if you get to the level 2 program, we do, what I would say is do something like, how do I do this? Add indicator. We're going to do a moving average simple, and we're going to compare sort of the trend and what this is doing with a 13 EMA, 30 SMA study. So we're actually going to look at the way moving averages are acting sort of to determine trend, and ironically enough, you're going to put away the put-call ratio. Bye-bye. Now what do we get? Well, you can see we got a pretty nice timing signal here. That corresponded with the break there. And then ultimately it ended there. So that's not bad. Got you going thinking short here and thinking no more down in here off of that violent spike. That's not bad. How about bull? So now we're thinking bull here, and we'll go all the way into here. It's not a bad signal. So, this would be sort of the way that I would approach using these kind of internal indicators, is looking for those sort of signs of divergence and things like moving average relationships to help you quantify price action. Here's a good example, right? You can see 13 EMA broke. So theoretically, this should be a bullish sign. So what's the market doing? Well, I'm heading up. And we get up into this area here, and now the put-call ratio is actually turning bearish, so you better be careful up here. Good example, actually. That's a really good example of divergence. And lo and behold, look what's happening on the S&P 500 right now. And we have lots of other anecdotal evidence on the site that there's trouble brewing, right? We're probably going to get some sort of sharp correction here. Things like Amazon, I couldn't believe it. Amazon put in an outside-downside weekly bearish engulfing pattern. You don't see that every day. That's supposed to be one of the big darlings here of late. Oh, that's not good. How about things like the Dow theory? That's basically transports relative to the industrials. Industrials making new highs, transports not bad sign. So the only problem with all this is that we're not in an environment right now where the central planners are hands off. Most of this stuff, like things like Dow theory signal and stuff like that, it works best when the market's just on its own trading away. But you know, these goddamn fucking banksters. This guy Powell could come in tomorrow and say, oh, by the way, I just found $5 trillion in my, just out of my ass, and here you go. You know? So, yeah, that's why earlier I said, I don't think it's a good idea, especially if you understand this image. I don't think it's a good idea for you to get into the business of calling tops in this market. Because these sons of bitches, they're hell-bent on taking this market up. They can't afford this market not going up. There is so much debt out there, and I've told you guys this before. This economy must grow. I told all of you students this. I don't think you understand it. It must grow. So, I mean, let's see if any of you guys are still listening to me. I've been blabbing away forever here, and I've only gotten through to question 1 or 2. What's the expression? Don't fight the something. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Paul. People on the site know what I'm referring to here. If you don't, maybe you ought to get your ass into the site and become part of our community. You just don't do it. Don't get into the business. Don't fight them. Just don't do it. So to answer your question, I don't know about cut and dry. Oh, it's a piece of shit indicator. It's not. Well, I could use it. And really, at the end of the day, that's what actually is the most important thing here. Is, do you have a tool that you like to use and that puts a really big smile on her face? I mean, come on, right? Right? Am I right or am I right? Sorry. Do you have a tool that you like to use that lets you participate in the market and is relatively low anxiety? It's just what you like to use. Geez, nobody liked my joke there? Yeah, well. Guess jokes get a bit stale. If you use put-call ratio as a divergent indicator, this thing is flashing major warning signs. It just is. And it won't actually say it's time to head back in until you actually see it M out and start to break below the moving average. And I think that's actually pretty accurate. So that's one way to use a put-call ratio, but it's probably not the way that your study looked at it. It'd be interesting if I have time later on. I'll go and look at that. Maybe ask me again tomorrow on the sort of private in-house video. Okay, let's keep moving this forward. What do you mean by market states, and how many states are there? Is it the same as market structure? Well, market structure will dictate market state. So let me ask you, if a big fat M comes in price, what do you think the market state is? It's pretty simple. Big fat M comes in price, what's the market state? It's bearish. Big fat W comes in on volume, what's the market state? And, you can really see this well if you go off of things like weekly and monthly charts to measure market state, i.e. trend, that kind of conversation. Where the M's and the W's, in fact, I used to do a commodity trend survey once a week, and I used to study weekly price trends. And I even did it recently on good old Bitcoin. Of course, everybody hates when I do this, but it's pretty cut and dry. If somebody in the public came and asked me what is the trend on Bitcoin right now, I would just simply say, find me a blank chart I can write on. What a mess. Nope, no blank charts. All right, well, let's see. Let's do this one. I thought I had a blank chart here. Go. BTC USD. Get rid of all this stuff. That's interesting. Nice moving average cross there. We don't need this. Don't need that. Like that. Like that. And actually using a line chart makes it even easier. But market state's pretty easy to discern here. Just is the market making higher highs and higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows? That's a really easiest sort of I'm a bull, I'm a bear. So those are two market states. Then of course you're gonna have like here for example, obviously we transitioned into a bearish market state as of here. But the problem is you get down into this and it's sort of like you want to maybe temper your bearish enthusiasm as we get lower and lower and lower and lower, right? I'm very bearish, and even so much as hunting, maybe even trade setups, thinking bearish, contrarian. I might argue that you've got like super bull, uber bull kind of idea. Then, well, I'm a bull, but I've got some bearish structure working. Then, nope, back to uber bull. Then, all right, well, not so bullish, but still a bull. Then notice we start, kind of these highs are making lower and lower. And then all of a sudden, oh, Jesus, what the hell happened here? We made a lower high. So, we were going uber bull, making new highs. Then all of a sudden, hey, maybe we're not so uber bull anymore. So that kind of shifts the market state from uber bull to maybe cautious. You can think of this head and shoulders, and of course the M top is confirming here. Wow, market state just shifted from bull to bearish. And, one might argue that, the initial bearish signals here, so all the way down here, maybe you ought to temper your bearishness a little bit. That's a hell of a drop. And so, if I was going to say what's the market state right now, it almost looks to me like it's within a bearish structure. We're now having sort of a range bound, what they call and actually it'd be interesting. Does anybody know what is the classic stock market term for what is going on here right now? I'd be interested to see if you... It's the same thing in crypto. It's no difference. No? Anyway, call it a dead cat bounce. So, obviously we're on pretty oversold condition. Very negative. The sentiment was horrifically negative. That's often the hallmark of dead cat bounces, is this sentiment is just so utterly negative. Descending wedge broke out. This is a V bottom. We all know. I mean, look at times gone by. Bottoms have to look like W's, and then quite often higher time frame structure, bigger W's. That's what bulls look like. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we've got a V bottom here. At best, we probably need to see some sort of test of this going forward. So we're in the context of a correction, and we've gone through a dead cat bounce. And, a little bit more advanced, we would say, market state, are we transitioning out of a overt bear and maybe back into a bearish range, we'll call it? And that's going to be all about the resolution of 38.2s. I mean, how cliche. This is exactly what we teach on the course. Mr. Ray Burchett. So we might still in market state would be, of course, we've got a bearish situation. You've got bearish market structure pushing. We have a V bottom. It's a dead cat bounce off of V bottom. And right now, the market is asking, am I still a bear? And if that's the case, we'll M out and start working our way back down, lower highs and lower lows. Or am I potentially now going to transition into we'll call it a bearish range, where I'm going to be bouncing around in between this range? I would say that this bearish range sort of market setup, it might start transitioning back into a bull if we start seeing things like downtrends being broken and big honking W's coming in on the other side, right? And then we got 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows. Hey, there's probably a bot set up somewhere in here to take us up higher. And then, of course, what do your momentum indicators look like, etc. But at this point here, what we're really saying is, okay, we're at a bottom end range. We're going to test the top end of the range. And if we break out, of course, then we're back into uber bull market state. So, yeah, absolutely. Market structure is going to dictate. Look for higher time frames to confirm the market structure. Here, for example, you've got a massive things like monthly breakout here. All right, very powerful, higher highs and higher lows. We've got weekly higher highs and higher lows, right? Especially when we busted up through here. Weekly start looking very, very strong. So at this point, yes, you might say, well, Brian, there's an M coming in here. But that's off the daily chart, with the weekly and the monthly still very strong. So just think of that cadence, right? Try and just measure sort of market state monthly, weekly, daily. And then, once you've done that, you get a pretty good idea what the hell the market state is. So interesting, even somebody on the site recently pointed out that, oh, gee whiz, weekly M's and W's. What do we say about weekly W's? Are they the kind of things we want to see as investors? Yes. And then conversely, weekly M's, is that what you want to see as an investor? If you're long? No. So you better respect that. That's a pretty damn powerful formation there. And interestingly enough, even off of like the weekly basis, because keep in mind, a lot of institutional people, they look at this chart and they won't believe that this thing's a bull until we actually W out on the other side of this trend line over here. So, all right, hopefully that answers that question. Okay, hi Brian. As a level 1 student about to let loose after the appropriate number of successful paper trades have been completed, of course, I wanted to ask for your advice as to how a brand new trader should frame their trading week ahead if one is intended to trade on a lower time frame. I know the trader's checklist is intended as the start of level 3 program, but are there any hints and tips you could share with us now, please? My thought process is that a trader's checklist of sorts will form a key part of my trading plan. Cheers. Say, yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't really want to jump ahead. I would like for you to get through Kiran, especially if we're doing things like volume profile, moving averages, horizontal support and resistance, gap theory, the basics of WD-GAN, and sort of numerology, if you will, in the market. The construction of the futures market, what the different information in the futures market helps us understand market state. So there's still a lot of sort of basic learning that I need for you to do before I feel really comfortable about setting you loose as a quote-unquote day trader. I mean, the answer is yes. Could I give you the checklist now and give you that whole lecture? Keep in mind, it's a full week lecture. There's about 10 different documents I want you to set up coming out of that. I could. Is this a question of, is the structure of the school set up appropriately to enable you people that just started to get going if you're super, super gung-ho? No, it's not. If anything, it's probably to try and slow you down as much as possible. I'll tell you what, say, if you're really, really gung-ho, participate in the Battle Stations group every single morning. New York Kill Zone. Show me that you're showing up day in, day out. I can see you're serious, and I'll work with you individually. And I'll spoon feed you this stuff. But I want to see that you're serious. Or my suggestion is just wait 3 months. Do the level 2. Get all that shit done. Make Kiran happy so that when I get you, I know that you passed his sort of barometer test. And then that way, like I said, the first week we'll set you up. What does your pro trader's workbench look like? So there you go. I don't know. It's not much of an answer. I don't really want to go into this here about teaching a whole level 3 module. Number 5, Brian, are there any books you recommended to learn more about fear and greed cycles? Geez, I wish there were. It's almost like they don't want us to know about this, which sucks. I don't know why there aren't more educational references on Jupiter-Saturn cross, why there are not more references on the horribly corrupt banking system that we live in, why there aren't more sort of longer-term planning, understanding demographics. I will tell you, when I was in high school, this was the course. It was ironically enough, it was geography, but this particular term in high school, it was sociology was the focus of this particular class that I took in high school. And it was the only class in high school that I got an A in, because for some reason demographics just spoke to me, and I went so deep down the rabbit hole. But I can tell you, nobody in my class, when I did my formal presentation of demographics and the influences on society and sociology, nobody in that class was even the slightest bit interested. So, I don't know what to say. Is it a function of people are just not interested? Is it a function that the teaching is so poor that it's very hard to connect the dots? Is it a function that the 1% doesn't want us to know this information, society, and sort of make plans for our society based on demographic cycles? I don't know. It's almost like you're just barking at open air. And, I've been teaching you guys here in earnest for the past 5-6 years. I can tell you, my time as a quote-unquote teacher in the market is coming to an end. In the next few years, I won't be doing this anymore. I'm very financially comfortable, so I don't need to worry about money. I want to go and create a nice little retreat in Hawaii and sort of actually be on the ground there with the local population, making a positive difference in their lives. I'll probably do this more in person, but I doubt I'll be doing as much sort of work with the public as I am now. So take advantage of this while I'm here, guys. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of stuff that I teach that I've never seen anywhere else. 30 years of working in the market, and it almost seems to me like there's some sort of conspiracy to try and keep this information under wraps. I don't know why, but it is. So, are there any books? Unfortunately, I can't think of any. There was a really cool book, but they're more sort of doom and gloom. But there was a really good book. It was called Boom, Bust, and Echo, I think it was called. And it talked about this coming demographic nightmare problem. So it's another book I have up here. It was called. It seems appropriate. It's called Collapse. And what's that written? Who's that written by? That's written by a guy named Jared Diamond. I have no idea who that is, but not bad books. So those are two that I would buy, and I don't know who the author of Boom Bust and Echo, or maybe it's Echo and Boom Bust, I can't remember. But those might be two that you might be able to get some half-decent information on these cycles about. So. All right, Brian, can you tackle Celt Channel a little bit? Yeah, remember I told you. You know what? I'd rather do that tomorrow. Let's do that tomorrow versus here on the free one. I'll show you the stuff I have inside the site, and then also too I told you guys while Grim was talking to you that we actually go into ATR and learning about ATR and how it works as a volatility study in the level 3 program. So in a weird sort of way we are kind of treading on this, but I've been reluctant to do this volatility study module because I just don't know where to fit it in. Like, really, I hate to say it, volatility measures I would actually categorize as another complete school of technical analysis. Both things like standard deviation and average true range as different methodologies. I do have a slideshow that's in the library on this. It's incomplete, and I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. And I've been saying that for a few years now, so maybe ask me tomorrow morning to go through that in the daily brief. In the L-Tangonator tutorial, you said that this setup has a 75% success rate in winter 2017. Okay. What is the rate of success today? I'm not quite sure. The issue here is it's probably more a question of what's the asset you're trading, what's the market state of the particular asset, what type of market are you trading. But on balance, valid L-Tangonators, they work a good 60-70% of the time easily. It's one of the models. It was the very first model that I was taught, but it didn't have the momentum analysis component to it. It was just M's and W's in the 50% rule. And just having that, it ran at about 66%. Throw in the momentum indicators, and we're up in that high area. And I'll tell you, man, it's so cool talking to guys like Kevin, because now Kevin just believes it so much that literally every single idea that he's considering buying, I can almost depend on there being a bullish MACD momentum divergence in them. And just ask Kevin. I think he's running a good 60-70% win rate on them. Obviously, if you come and talk to us in the middle of May, middle of June, how are setups running? Obviously, through that seasonally weak period, unless you're trading strictly bearish setups, the long setups are going to have a bit of a difficult time. And then conversely, if you're in an absolute runaway bull market, then they're going to be firing like 80-90% of the time. And that's often how these trading setups work, is sometimes you look like an absolute trading god and you go like just on insane win streaks. And then other times you can't trade your way out of a paper bag. But on balance, I believe that the L-Tangonator produces very, very high statistical probability win rate. All right, number 8. There's a big bearish weekly engulfing bar on Amazon. I know. Isn't that ugly as shit? Yep. Can this derail the market, or is it something that can happen during summer? Well, I mean, anything can derail the market at any given point in time. It's not our job to predict what's going to happen here, Aisha. If the market wants to come off, and if the market's going to top here in the middle of July, actually it's now August, so technically a lot of times markets top in August, and then the pros come back after Labor Day weekend and they just drive the market into the ground. That happens a lot. So, if Amazon is a harbinger here, and we actually do find, remember we talked about Dow theory, there's a beautiful M in the Dow right now. We talked about the put-call ratio being bearish. So, I mean, it seems to me that actually this is just falling in line with everything else that we're seeing. How about my monster key reversal on the Canadian bank stocks? Man, that was beautiful. Hate those fuckers. So I'm long the put options. Basically, I'm going with the market. I'm not telling the market what's going to happen. I just trade with the market. And I hope you can too. 9. What's your overall breakdown of your portfolio? How much of your money have you separated for swing versus position versus indexes versus day trades? Oh, God. I'm working right now towards passing Kiran's combine at TRI. So I'm not actually spending any money at all on day trading right now. I've put myself into the penalty box until I see both market state and my log of trades taken producing desired results. So actually I'm not trading any money at all on a day trading basis. And I don't really like the look of the market here through the summer, which is pretty typical. And I probably won't get back to work in earnest day trading, that kind of thing. Hell, I haven't even seen valid setups come in lately. Just nothing is setting up. It's just all really crappy summer trading. So that hopefully answers that. Now, if I did do a day trading program, my hunch is I'd probably only throw maybe like 10, 20 G's or something into it. And really, I'm more there just to have fun. I just like to have fun trading. Keep yourself active, maybe make a couple grand a month kind of idea, but it's just for fun more than anything else. To be perfectly honest with you, my portfolio right now, my personal portfolio, is probably about 70 or 80% in cash. So, and actually, I would really like to move forward on this Hawaiian real estate retreat that Zach and I, if we can't raise the money through a not-for-profit venture, and just FYI, I talked to actually, Seb sent me a message today saying that he's still on course. The NFT is all just doing its thing, and he's been working with the hackathon people and stuff, and he's thinking this fall he's going to be ready to go. So, you know, the irony of it all is we might have just an absolute rip-roaring rally here in crypto, and you guys are all jazzed about it as soon as he's got the NFT going. It will just sit alive and just do its thing until we're ready to actually get going on the Hawaiian project. So I've left a good chunk of my sort of net worth sitting in cash waiting for that event. And if I really wanted to do something right now in the market, I really like the idea of buying U.S. denominated real estate in sort of highly desirable locations, we'll say, and developing those up, because my hunch is 10, 15 years from now, those assets and those properties are going to be trading at the absolutely embarrassingly stupid valuations that I see the commodity countries' assets trading at now. And that's exactly what's supposed to happen in the cycle. So, you know, sadly, people are coming in and paying top dollar for this, like, Canadian real estate, which is an absolute joke in my eyes. I will not do that. But I'd be very interested in going and picking up things like Hawaiian real estate right on fucking the ocean. I mean, that's ridiculous. So, in the city, right in the fucking middle of the city, your property's right across the street from the ocean. Like, holy shit. Oh no, I can live in Vancouver where I got fucking 20 Chinese high rises all circling me here and pay 10 times the price. Like, what the fuck? I mean, so, oh boy, here goes Brian. So, I have earmarked the capital for Andrew and the fun little $1 million penny stock portfolio that we're going to be running. But that's only like 10 G's of capital. That's not much money. I've got a couple $100,000 in registered accounts, so I use a lot of that capital to demonstrate trading on this site. Because those have to sit in registered accounts, right? They're supposed to pay for your retirement and grow tax-free and all that bullshit. So, and of course, if you withdraw that money, you get a big tax penalty. So I use that primarily to do my swing trading, position trading, VCIMs, all that kind of fun stuff. Options, whatever. So, and then of course, I started up this fun little crypto account with $500 a few years ago. And it's sitting, I don't know, 300, 400 G's, something like that. And it's just fun. It's just a fucking around account as far as I'm concerned. So, if it goes in, like I've said, and, I mean, I've set wallets up for Liam. So, are those assets technically my assets? Yes, they are. But technically, they're, the way I look at them, they're Liam's money. So, if crypto goes fucking nutso here, then I'll sell all that shit and go buy him a house or something with it. So I hope that helps answer the question. But ironically enough, I would prefer, and this is just the type of guy I am, that I would prefer to be in a good chunk of cash. I always like to be in lots of cash. Cash is strong position. Your stocks go in double, quadruple, quintuple. You can more than offset just either the fall in the purchasing power of your cash or the interest that you forego for not being invested. And if anything, it's been my entire career. People that go, usually the people that fail at this game, they have $100,000 and they say, okay, I want to buy $100,000 worth of Microsoft stock. And then they watch the fucking asset like just nuts, and then it goes down to like $98,000. Oh shit! Get me out! It's going to zero. And then boom! Now they got a 2% loss for their account, and then they just die 1,000 deaths of that kind of market eroding against them. And that's not how I play. I do it the exact opposite. I stay almost all in cash. And then I just go and nibble, and if they double, quadruple, whatever, then great. I just keep throwing the cash right back on the pile. All right. 10. Do you believe we will go to deflation and a short recession first before we enter the next growth phase of this market cycle? I doubt you are going to hear any talk about deflation. If we do start getting to the point of deflation, the banksters will come out and start turning the printing presses back on. What I'm hearing about now is the U.S. politicians are pretty much agreeing to Mr. Biden's over-the-top, socialist infrastructure plan, whatever the fuck you want to call it, banker's tax. They're going to dilute the shit out of the currency. It's coming. It's already here. It's basically a past event. It was part of the whole fucking conspiracy plan, and they got away with it. Way to go, Joey. You pulled it off. And because of that, and I've said this to you guys repeatedly, and I wish you guys would look into this, I think our future is Japanification. So go look at how Japan's society has gone, and my hunch is our society is going to basically go the same direction. All right, from 0 to 100%. How do you personally view the probability of West going through stagflation, deflation, hyperinflation, etc.? Okay. Well, you're kind of like all opposite ends of the extreme here. I would say that we are. And the problem here is that, and I was actually trying to explain this to somebody earlier, it's almost like they're trying to squeeze the 20-year bear market that should have happened in our society. The George Bush Juniors, and his war on terror nonsense, and then Obama, having to clean up all the mess following that, and just massive dilution of the currency, blah 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 blah, and the sort of eventual end game of all this. It feels as though they're actually trying to cram all of this shit in like about 2 or 3 years, like the real shit that they've been, like for 20 some odd years, they just kept like flossing over the shit, glossing over the shit, glossing over the shit, glossing over the shit. And now in like 2 or 3 fucking years, they're ramming it all down our throats, all in unison, all hard. And sometimes, if Jerome rams too hard, there is a very good chance you're going to choke. That would, I guess, be sort of like, like maybe even Civil War, where, the right wing just goes, look, enough is enough. So I do believe it kind of goes in ebb and flow. And, like the bankers, they've hired lawyers here to fucking finesse this. So they're taking this really, I think, if anything, you can make the argument that the 20th century actually caught the 1% off guard. They started the 20th century with fucking kings running the world. Total, utter dictatorships. In 1901, if I went out and said the Queen of England sucks horsecocks, I'd probably get shot on the street and nobody would say boo. So I believe that the 20th century kind of caught the 1% off guard. And, the whole thing of like Soviet revolution, workers' rights, the end game of the sort of the socialist movement, that whole fucking century caught the 1% off guard. And now, I believe that the 1%'s figured out this sort of new world order, and they've basically re-exerted their totalitarian dictatorship control of us. So that's my interpretation of what's going on in the world. Because they're ramming it down our throats here, all in a very, very short period of time, the Great Reset, whatever the hell you want to call it, we're getting a whole bunch of this shit all I mean, I couldn't believe it when I saw that poor black guy down in the States, sampling burgers at restaurants, and he went to fucking restaurant, hey, check out this burger, it tastes pretty good. It only cost me $26. Like, fuck. $26 for one burger? It's tragic. I mean, it's goddamn tragic what they're doing to us here. I don't know what the end game is here. I'll tell you one thing. It's not deflation. These cocksuckers, the one thing that they absolutely made sure was not going to happen was the banksters were not going to get fucked. And they have not gotten fucked. Them getting fucked would be deflation. Send Goldman Sachs to court. Sue them. These people should have been put in jail for the criminal activity that they did, selling products to the public and then taking the short trade on the other side of the product because they knew the product itself was shit. I mean, that's criminal. But did anybody get taken to court? No. And had they, then that would have created the deflationary cycle that should have happened this cycle. Think of, Great Depression, the guy, Herbert Hoover. His attitude was, Goldman Sachs, you go to jail for that criminal behavior. Goldman Sachs says, oh, well, if you do that, then the stock market's going to crash. And Mr. Hoover says, well, you invest in the stock market. It's your own fault if you lose money. Why should I have any sympathy for you? But we don't live in that world now, do we? So, no way in hell deflation's going to happen. These cocksuckers, they've totally rigged the whole system. The question ultimately here is, do we go into hyperinflation? Because they've completely fucked this whole thing up. And keep in mind, central bankers, they are horrible. I mean, did you not all see that for the past year and a half? These central bankers, when asked what's going to happen next, every single time they answered, they got it completely wrong. There was like a U.S. senator that showed when fucking Jerry was sitting there and I don't know why they do these testimonies. They're a complete waste of time. But he basically pointed out, this Fed governor said that things were going to be okay and they were shit. Then the Fed governor said that things were going to be shit, and it turned out everything was okay. Why are we paying you these six-figure salaries when you're so completely and utterly wrong? Well, it turns out that's what central bankers do. They're always wrong. It's almost hilarious. People don't get this. Central bankers are backward-looking, not forward-looking. I've told you guys this story. I used to work at Transport Canada, and 5 years after fucking Osama bin Laden, they're still talking about Osama bin Laden's going to sink the cruise ships in Vancouver Harbor. What? I mean, that couldn't be any further from the truth. And yet, that's what these government bureaucrats get paid to do. They worry about yesterday's story. They don't understand that the future will not be yesterday's story. It's impossible. Blah, 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 blah. Rant, 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 rant. So there's my answer to that. It's a shit show right now is what it is. And if we're not careful, these sons of bitches, they've completely fucked these currencies. So we are now in a situation where we could very easily have hyperinflation, where people lose all confidence in them and these currencies just start collapsing. And the price of shit, I mean, if it's not bad enough, I used to, when I first came to BC, White Spot was a restaurant where the sort of working class would go. You could get a really nice burger for a couple bucks. Nice fries, beverage. And a buddy of mine here locally, we went to one 6 months ago, and a burger now there is like $20. I mean, it's embarrassing. What do you call that? Do you call it criminal? Do you call it normal inflation? You can't call that normal inflation. What do you call it? Do you call it the central planners completely fucking all this up? Yeah, that's not a bad way to describe it. Sad. All these politicians over the past 20 years, 30 years, every single one of them said, the guys, there were some politicians that would be like, spend more money, spend more money, spend more money. And then there would be other politicians that would say, you're mortgaging your grandchildren's future. Well, welcome to that future that's been mortgaged. $26 burger. $50 loaf of bread. All right, 12. Do you expect a big recession? If yes, how long do you think it could last? An effect on West versus developing nations? Deflation in the West versus hyperinflation in other countries? Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, again, a lot of this is you're asking somebody to predict the future here. I'd tell you, I mean, I had an awesome crystal ball, but I broke it a couple weeks ago. So I probably could answer this question pretty accurately, but not now. Sorry. Next time I get a new crystal ball and I find one, I'll be more than happy to let you know. It's really the question is what's the fate of this sickness? If the sickness starts ramping back up, then it's like we're right back at square one. They'll shut the economies down. They'll have to issue a whole bunch of new stimulus, more forbearance, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's actually my personal belief that this particular cycle, Klaus is you will own nothing and be happy. I believe that the bankers are actually going after the housing stock. And they want all of the housing stock on the central planners' balance sheets as well. So they've already got the governments, and the governments are the bankers' bitches. They've got probably a good chunk of the stock market and all the corporations they're bitches. Now they've got to get the individual landowners their bitches. And I think that's what the game plan is now. Once all the land and all the real capital stock of housing is owned by the central planners, then they can just dictate terms. Right. So that's what I think is going on this particular cycle. That's interesting. Moratorium on tenant evictions not renewed. So I actually thought that they were going to extend that. So actually that makes me a little bit happier, because frankly speaking, what should happen here is we should go into an absolute economic tailspin, as all this back rent has to get paid. If it's not going to get paid, these people should get evicted. There should be just Hoovervilles. You've all heard of Hoovervilles. That should start coming up. If anything, maybe we'll call them Bidenvilles or something. You know, somebody who's in cahoots with Mr. Trump. Probably a good idea to start spreading that sort of Bidenville kind of talk, because that's what should happen here. And actually interesting. So Cheryl says here too, if all of those evictions do happen, then actually that's going to flood the market with houses. And since people are coming in basically paying cash for the houses, it gives them the opportunity to scoop up more real estate on the cheap. I don't know. I do like the idea that if this sickness continues on, then the socialist sort of message continues. If, however, they're actually saying that nope, sickness is not an issue anymore. Did hear Powell recently say that he didn't think the sickness was that big of an economic concern anymore. So that's an interesting twist. I suppose you could argue that the whole market top here that's sort of setting up for whatever this thumping is this fall, it might set up a recession. It could very easily. We got lots of topping signals in a lot of these stock indexes and stuff. So if the market did come off, don't be surprised. But I've said this repeatedly. I don't think the United States is actually where the shit hits the fan. I think where the shit hits the fan is everywhere outside of the United States. Like this country that I live in right now, here in Canada. This is a joke what's going on here. An absolute and utter economic joke. But they always say, right, markets can remain illogical far longer than anybody can remain solvent. So if somebody actually did start to get some religion about credit worthiness, lending money, real estate development, I would imagine half to maybe 3/4 of the real estate development projects that are going on in Vancouver here today will stop just like that. And actually it's interesting because China's already started to roll over a bit. So maybe we do see that. But, you know, my biggest short bets in the market right now are on the Canadian banks and the Canadian stock market, not the U.S. market. So probably a bigger question here is, where are you? You know, developing nations, third world nations, shit like that. I mean, do you guys see what's going on in like places like South Africa, Cuba? Holy jeez. You know, there's a big movement of people wanting to move to countries like Chile. Remember that? Remember there was that Da Vinci guy? He picked up and moved from Canada to Chile. Life in those kind of places around the world might get a little bit challenging. So that's been my major message. Okay, last question, then heading off to Liam. Shit, it's already 1:30. All right. In the week 12 video around N7 2017, you said, I'm no longer thinking that commodities will outperform. I'm thinking that growth stocks will outperform. I've turned into a growth investor. Absolutely. Holy fuck yeah. And man, I mean, our stocks have just gone fucking insane. Have you seen some of these stocks? I mean, it's just ridiculous how much they've gone up. Now in 2021, gold is trending up. No, I don't think it is. and Bitcoin as well. I've said this before. I think Bitcoin got moved up there because of a growth proxy, that Coinbase IPO. And then what are NFTs? Do you understand that NFTs are the growth proxy for crypto? This is how crypto can morph from store of value, boring, it just sits there, it's valuable, proof of work, to holy shit, I can actually use these things in video games, in music libraries, in probably television show libraries. So the point being, you don't like that USA's. I'm talking relatively speaking there, BT. I'm not saying that this is going to be a fucking bed of roses. This is going to be a shit show right across the board. But BT says, I'm not so sure about USA being a stable place. I'm saying relatively speaking. There are places in the world, relatively speaking, which are extremely dangerous to your health right now. IMHO. If anything, and actually I even heard people talking about how Ethereum now seems to be outperforming. Look at Sjord's Luna and names like that. Novogratz is all fucking excited about that Luna because I think actually Novogratz sat and listened to Sjord's presentation and went, fuck me, this Dutch guy's smart. Shit, I gotta get in on this thing. So, yeah, right, Nick? So, what's your favorite one? What do you like? You like that Cosmos thing, right? For some reason, whenever I think Nick and I think crypto, he likes this one. I can't remember the name of it. It's killing me. And I always think Cosmos. and then he always says, I do like Cosmos, but I like this other one a little bit better. Anyway, so for whatever it's worth, Nick here is on my on that Wednesday show. That's who I'm chatting with here. And Nick, what do you think? You ready for this level 1 exam? You think you're going to kick some ass here? I think do you have a microphone? I'd love to hear your voice. Nick's got a fucking voice for this shit. Man. Is he here? Oh, he's here.
Yeah, it should be working now.
Hey, there he is. Hey, bud. Polygon! That's it, Polygon.
I mean, the final will be good. I'm going to go back and study some more, but I'm pretty sure I could pass it fine now.
Right on. Good. Do you feel like you got value for your money spent?
Yeah, definitely. Good. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be doing the Wednesday thing with you. I probably wouldn't be signing up for level 2 after. So, assuming I pass. Good job. Well, thank you so much for taking a second here and showing the good people that it's not just Brian here alone here talking. So thanks. Anytime.
So, I'm not going to say that Bitcoin and crypto are locked into that store of value story. In fact, my big question was going to be, how was crypto going to act as we transition from this? And just, God, have you people not seen these? It's incredible. These central bankers and central planners now are just fucking going apeshit over, oh my God, growth is going to be over the top. It's going to, look at all this money. Oh, growth. So you can already see it coming. I don't know whether you see asset prices. They're moving up dramatically. And if anything, the coup de grace. What does Klaus want you to do? Remember, do the exact opposite of what these motherfuckers are wanting you to do, because they're trying to take advantage of you. So what does Klaus want you to do? Do the opposite. He wants you to divest. What you should be doing is investing. But that's really difficult to do right now, isn't it? That's usually the hardest thing to do in the market. The easy thing to do is say, I'm going to bury my head in the sand. It's all going to rat shit. Ironically enough, that's when you were supposed to be thinking in 2000 at the dot-com boom. That's when you wanted to be getting the fuck out. And indeed, relatively speaking, everything has gone to rat shit. But that's the wrong part of the cycle thinking now. Now, this is like, it's always darkest before the dawn. You ever heard that expression before? That's what's going on right now. Klaus wants your ass. Ets. Probably also wants your ass too, but we won't go there. And it's not because he's thinking about your best interest. He's actually thinking about his own best interest. Son of a bitch. Okay, I think I'm going to leave the rant at that. That gives me a good half hour to get over to Liam. So I hope you enjoyed the comic stylings. I don't know how comic it was. It was actually an interesting conversation. A lot of people have told me that they really like this because it gives them a very sort of very real sort of what do the students actually look like week to week, and what are they thinking, what are the conversations that we have on. So you get a real good sort of look of what goes on behind the fancy shill. Please understand, just as sort of a message to the world. I know that there are some people that are kind of like, TRI's been kind of drifting for a while. Like, where the hell are they going? Please understand, everybody, for 3.5 years now, I've been waiting for this machine to be put in operation. If I have to wait another 3.5 years, so be it. But this is my primary focus. Ironically, I do find it incredibly ironic, this school was built, and I did the school to help facilitate the construction of this. Because this is bloody expensive stuff. Computer programmers. Ay. And we have like an army of like a dozen of them now, all just hammering away trying to get this damn thing. And it broke recently, and they're all freaking out right now trying to fix it. But, and good luck. If anything, not only, and thank you so much, guys, for wishing me luck with Liam. It's such a nice sentiment. It always makes me feel so good that you guys are thinking about Liam. But maybe also have a nice thought for Sjord too. And I tell you, as soon as this thing gets going, then Brian, I'm ready to take the next step with TRI. Somebody had asked me recently, well, what is it that you do? What's your value proposition, Brian? What makes TRI different? And I actually put some time together and really thought about this and wanted to give like a really articulate answer. TRI as it stands right now, I do not want you thinking about TRI as like an advisory service. That actually doesn't do justice to what we actually do at TRI. What we do and what we should do and what needs to be our bread and butter to make this thing work over the long haul is this idea that the best thing that you get out of the Beamish and TRI and everybody here is this idea of the process, and these people actually demonstrate best practices. And I think it's just kind of a little bit out of frustration having to wait 3.5 years now. We are having a little bit of an internal sort of struggle with what our marketing message is right now. And my apologies. I'm sure there's a lot of people at TRI that have been around for a year or two and are just like, man, it's so directionless. I don't know which direction these guys are going. But understand that at the end of the day, the most important thing here is this idea that we're not here to shill you any particular coin. We're not here to shill you a particular stock. I can make all the money I need just trading. I could turn this thing off and never talk to you people again. I like this. I enjoy it. I like the positive feedback. I like the idea of making a positive difference in the world. I like the idea of facilitating JoJo's sort of desire. And I think there's a lot of spirit, because we have a number of people at TRI that have passed on, which sucks. even since I've been here. So I think about them constantly, people like Joby and James Cole. People that I really liked. I want them to be standing over there on the other side and be really proud of what we're doing here. You know, we had one guy, his name was Greg Pop. And every once in a while I see him pop up on the internet. No pun intended. But he actually described our course and what I do here really, really well years ago. And I gotta say, man, I've never heard of a description better, right? I'm not gonna fish for you. I don't care what you buy or sell. It doesn't make a difference to me. I would prefer that you try and buy stuff, you know, don't go fucking walking in and buying Alan when he's on fucking late night comedy shows telling you about how wonderful of an investor he is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the process, or, you know, what we call, you know, sort of best practices. Then it's actually incumbent on you as an individual to take personal ownership of this. I remember I was sitting with a guy a week or two ago. We were explaining, Andrew and I explaining a Korean barbecue plan and what we were going to do. And he's like, well, why don't I just give you guys the money? You go and make it for me. And I'm like, that's exactly why we do not want. We do not want that at all. I hate that shit. So I'm a bit of a weirdo. But it does, I tell you, it leaves us in an incredibly strong position. I don't really care if nobody signs up for this school this fall. Yeah, you heard me say that. What a terrible marketing message, eh? I don't care. I believe that the product that we sell is worth its weight in gold. You heard Nick earlier. I mean, this shit works. You know, if you don't know it, well, we give it to you on a silver platter at a pretty damn good price. The shit sells itself. I don't need to sell it. I mean, I'll be more than happy. We have tried a couple interesting recent marketing attempts. And let's just say that communication is a bit of an issue before we turn new people to investing loose on social media channels. We'll leave it at that. You know, one thing I was so proud of, I gotta say, I was so proud of our community, because the community itself, even level oneers, were like, I don't know, guys, do you think that's the best thing to be saying here? And I thought that was great. I was so pleased. That really put a big smile on my face. Because really, we're only as valuable, we're only as strong, we're only as solid as our community is. And if anything, it was great. Our community kind of reminded us, hey, you know, what are you guys doing over there? So my apologies. We did have a little snafu in our social media content recently. We'll get over it. You know, got to roll with the punches. No big deal. But at the same time, too, like I said, I was overly impressed with the fact that it was the community itself that brought management back in line, sort of said, hey, what the heck's going on here? That's perfect. Then that tells me that this shit is working. So, you know, that we have a 30-day trial. So, you know, pop on the site. All of these, you know, things like I wrote a letter to every single site member. This was a letter from me to you people. What is it that we do? What is it that we are not going to do? And you have my solemn word that I'm here to help. That's the whole point of this exercise. Also, too, we have great articles that sort of describe the whole learning process. What are you thinking about getting involved in here? And I'll tell you, every single student that buys into this shit, they do really well. Every single one. The students that don't and that fight this, I never see them succeed. In fact, I've even seen somebody who's been working with me for a very, very long period of time won't buy into this stuff, and they're still floundering. And I feel so badly for them. But you got to buy into this. You have to buy into it, hook, line, and sinker. No ifs, ands, or buts. So, well, maybe one big butt. My big fat butt. So, if you want these articles, they're all sitting in the TRI library, and the library is still accessible. Phew. While the site is being worked on, feel free to pop in. Great material. Also, too, if I'm going to sell myself as a demonstrator of best practices, well, then you better damn well see me actually demonstrating these principles. And that's what I do here. So I eat my own cooking. And like I said, I could go and eat my own cooking and not talk to you people anymore. That's the important thing about this, is I don't need you guys. I'm here as a public service, and that's why I think TRI has done as well as it has. So take advantage of us while we're here. I do like the direction that the community and the site is going in. We've got, a bit of a hurdle here that we're trying to work through. Good part about it is our current school term is winding up. So we got, good few weeks to get our act together here. So hopefully we'll do well there. We do have we don't really have like an overt marketing plan for the school this coming term. My marketing idea here is to come and talk to you guys on a weekly basis, build up a following. You sort of build up a bit of a trust in me. Watch the daily briefs. You see that I do what I say. And frankly speaking, actually, when I was a broker, this is the way that I built my book of business. Is I would call somebody up, and it might take like 10 calls. And at the end of the call, I would say, okay, cool. Do you mind if I put a note down to give you a call in, say, 3 or 4 months, see how things are going? And we'll take another look at the things then. And 9 times out of 10, they'd be like, yeah, sure, Brian. And I just slowly built up my book of business because I was just relentless. Every single day I showed up and then just demonstrating the same principles over and over and over. And eventually I win people over. That's my marketing plan. And frankly speaking, TRI's done pretty damn well here over the past 5 years. So it must be working. But the most important thing is we have to demonstrate best practices. So my promise to you is at the end of the day, the most important thing here is, who am I? What's my belief system? I can even post this on the YouTube page if you want to just get an idea of what I do, because this is basically everything that you're going to get from Brian as the website sort of exists now. So. And like I said, man, if we can get the key reversal screeners and some of that kind of shit going, this site will just go fucking total next level. Seward's got like automatic algorithms and stuff that are trading on their own, that kind of stuff. It will be like we're just plodding along at sort of like, use the Star Trek analogy kind of thing at impulse power, and then all of a sudden one day the warp engines kick in and woohoo! There will be no looking back. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you so much for your best wishes for me and Liam. I'm going to go hop in the car and we'll head off into the mountains and have an awesome afternoon. And if there was any question that I didn't answer off of your questions, I know there was 1 or 2 there from the question sheet that I kind of want to keep internal in the daily briefs. Just ask me tomorrow on the DB and we'll do it then, okay? All right, everybody, have yourselves a great rest of your day. PMA for the win. All the best, and bye for now.